Welcome to Okanagan Lavender and Herb Farms Workshop Wednesday. Today we are in the greenhouse and I'm going to show you how to pot up some wonderful herbs for reducing anxiety and stress that you can keep in pots on your patio. You can keep them inside or you can grow them in your garden. But today we're going to show you how to take a plant from the nursery center and put it into a pot that you can enjoy all year long. One of the first things that I really like to do when I'm going to pot up plants is find a bar of soap and dig my nails into it, because when you're working with the soil you get dirt under your fingernails, and this is a great gardener's tip. So just stick your nails in, put your gloves on, and when you go to wash your hands at the end of the day, it's not as difficult to get the dirt out of your fingernails. The herbs that we're going to focus on today are ones that are really good for reducing stress and anxiety. There's many plants that do this, but we're going to look at some of my favorite lemon scented ones. So I have lemon verbena, I have lemongrass, and I have a scented geranium called lemon fizz. So lemon is really uplifting. These herbs all help to improve your mood, so they're nice ones to have in a pot. So I've already potted my lemongrass. So I have 3 of these clay pots, and I really like the color of them. They're going to look nice in my patio area. So I'm just going to do this little trio today. So when you get your plant from the garden center, it's going to look like this. It has its tag. This one is a little dry. So what I have in my bucket here, I've already got water in it. I'm going to put in my 2 plants, just in their pots. Like that. And while I get my pots ready, I'm just going to let them soak up the water from the roots. So a good rule of thumb is when the water stops bubbling when you hold them down, they've had a good enough drink, and then they'll be good to go into your pots. So at our farm we do on-site composting, and we mix up our own soil. So this is a blend of soil from a good area of the farm where we have nice topsoil, some of our compost, and quite often I add a little bit of perlite or vermiculite to it. But you could just go to the garden center and get regular patio plant soil and use that. So I have a little piece of a clay tile here, and you'll see your pot has a hole in the bottom of it. So that's for drainage. I don't want my soil to go through the hole, so I'm just going to put that little piece of clay tile over top of the hole on both the pots. And then I'm going to put my soil in. So I'm going to put in soil. Just, it's about 2/3 full, because that's where the base of my new plant is going to sit. I'll do 1. So this is a nice free draining soil. And because I have my compost in it, I'm not going to need to fertilize these plants. I'm going to start with my lemon verbena. So one of the best qualities of lemon verbena is uplifting your spirits. It's a deciduous tree, so it's going to lose its leaves in about January. And then in about May, it's going to throw out all its new growth. When we're done these plants, we're going to show you some that are more mature. So you can see when you look at the bottom of the plant, my roots are kind of bound together here. So I'm just going to use my fingers to break them up a bit. Sort of like having knots in your hair. Set it on top of my soil. And I just want to bring that soil up to the level of the top of the plant. Sorry, the base of the plant, not the top. Pack it down to remove any air pockets. This is a little tray that's going to collect any water. And we'll just put that one down there for a minute. And now, if you're new to plants and you're worried that you're going to forget what type of plant you have, always put the marker back in your pot. Once you're familiar with them, you won't need to do that anymore. So, this is my lemon fizz scented geranium. And scented geraniums don't lose their leaves. They are fragrant year-round. They're a beautiful houseplant. And you can use them in so many culinary activities. So you could use this in tea. You could wrap, as the leaves get bigger, you could wrap butter in it to flavor it. So you'll find lots of interesting recipes on the internet with those. Again, you want to pack that nice and firm around your plant. Put your marker back in. And then I have a watering can here. So I'm just going to give them a bit of a drink. Not too much because I already soaked them. And there you have a beautiful little trio of herbs that are going to improve your mood, make you feel more uplifted. You can use them in tea. They're all easy ones to grow and bring inside for the winter. Okay, so I brought you out to our lower greenhouse, and all along this retaining wall here you can see our lemon verbena trees. So some of these are about 10 years old. I bring them inside in the winter because I do not live in a climate where they're winter hardy. So we live in a zone 5 in the Okanagan Valley, and I have to bring them in. And I have a building that I keep my lemon verbenas in at about 10 degrees, but I could also keep it in my house. So what happens is they lose all their leaves and they're just very twiggy looking. You can see that these are just getting their new leaves. So we brought them outside about 2 weeks ago. If you look at this one, I've pruned the top and this branch is not coming back, so I'll just take that off. But down below you see all this nice fresh growth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some of these and I'm going to take them up to the classroom in the building, and I'll show you how you can use a fresh herb to make a beautiful tea. We brought the herbs that we potted down in the greenhouse. So we have lemon verbena, we have lemon fizz geranium. So one thing that you need to know is the common name of these is geranium, but the proper name is pelargonium. So they're scented geraniums and they're different than the potted geraniums that people often have in their patio pots. And then the other herb we have here is lemongrass. So these are all going to stay in pots. I'm going to grow them on my patio, and I'm going to bring them all inside in the winter because they are not winter hardy plants. But I wanted to show you how you would harvest them if you wanted to use them for tea. You can see this lemongrass, it's quite leggy. So don't be afraid to give your lemongrass a crew cut, like that. Then it's going to bunch up and be really thick from below. It's going to throw out all sorts of new shoots. And what I've learned with lemongrass over the years is it loves to be warm, but have filtered light. So if you can find somewhere a little shady for it, it'll be really happy, and you'll be able to harvest from it all summer. Lemon verbena also likes a bit of filtered shade, and the lemon fizz geranium does too. So morning sun is good. It's just not full day sun for these ones. So when I cut lemongrass like this, the first thing I do is I pull out the brown parts because I don't want them. And what I'm going to show you is I just take my kitchen scissors and I trim this just into small pieces. Then I just keep them in a tin in my spice drawer, and I use this in all sorts of recipes all all year. There. So just so that your lemongrass looks like that. That's a really nice size. And you probably every 2 to 3 weeks can give it a bit of a haircut and build up quite a supply. Now, if I wanted to make a fresh herb tea, which I love to do, I put it directly into my teapot. And I'm just going to make a cup for myself. So I just want a pinch of lemongrass. I'm going to take one of my lemon fizz leaves. So just a little one like that. Don't over harvest your plant, and don't take the leaves that are really tough. Your better flavor is going to come from the younger ones. And so you'll get a feel for those as you learn about the plant. The other thing, with your lemon verbena, you can just pluck the leaves off. And once again, I'm not going to take these old tough ones. So you can just see the difference from the front and the back. So I'm just going to put these nice tender ones in my pot. So I have 3 fresh herbs in there. I just pour my boiling water over. I'm going to let that steep for about 3 minutes, and then I'm going to enjoy it with a little bit of honey. You could do a squeeze of fresh lemon also, and you're going to find this is a really uplifting beverage to have. It's nice hot or room temperature or cold, so don't worry if you forget about it in your teapot. That's just a simple way of making teas, and if you're really interested in doing this, this is one of my favorite books. I'm going to put the name and the author's name down in the description, so you'll be able to find it. Lots of really helpful advice, when to pick things, you know, how to use ginger, lots of simple ingredients in here. So my tea is steeped. We have a wonderful beekeeper beside us, Arlo's Honey Farm, and I really recommend finding a local beekeeper in your area if you can. It's lovely to have local honey. Pour my water over. Oh, it's delicious. It's so lemony. Really fresh and fun because it came right out of your own pots. Then the other thing I wanted to share with you about the herbs that we looked at today, how do we use, you saw all those lemon verbena trees we have, so we dry a lot of the leaves, and we come along and we snip the tips, pull the leaves off, and dry them on racks, and then this is how we add them to our Serenity tea. This one has lemon verbena, and it also has lemon balm in it. So those are both herbs you can easily grow that really help to relieve stress. And the other wonderful tea that we produce here is Anxiety, which has our lindens in it. And lindens have just started to leaf out. It's late spring. And we're going to cycle back to this one and show you in the summer how you can pick your linden flowers and use them in tea yourself. Thanks for joining us at Okanagan Lavender and Herb Farm for Workshop Wednesday. We loved showing you about plants that you might grow to produce tea right at your home. All of these are great in pots. Bring them in the winter. If you have any questions about teas, would like to learn more, we know lots of websites and books we could recommend, so leave us a question in the comments below. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.